So take us back, that's a lot, first of all. Like, that's a lot for anyone to have to go through, let alone doing it while you're pregnant. And I know for me, I've got 3 kids, and they truly have given me a new purpose. Mm-hmm. So I can imagine when you did get that, when, you're 29 weeks pregnant, I would imagine getting your daughter earthside safely was a big motivation for you, mm-hmm. and probably helped you get through a lot of negative thoughts that you mm-hmm. may have had. So, I think it's okay. I just want to give you that permission to share that mindset during this. Yeah. For anyone that might be going through a hard thing right now.
Yeah.
What are you living for? What are you fighting for?
And this whole piece, like while I was going through the major piece of treatment in the first 7-8 months of her life, I think I was so much on hyperdrive, survival mode, we talked about, that I was pretty good mentally. It was actually, I was always thinking about okay, planning out my treatments. Okay, this is what I need to organize. This is what we have to have done.
Yeah.
I need to make sure we have formula, just the steps of life. So in about February, I was ending treatment, and it was going into my maintenance phase. Mm-hmm. I vividly remember it was close to Valentine's Day, and it was my daughter's first Valentine's Day. So I set up a little photo shoot, on the bed with little stuffies and stuff, and a little outfit that somebody had bought her. And I remember thinking why don't I want to do this? I want nothing to do with this right now. I remember I knew that was not right. I was so happy that she was healthy and I was doing good. And so I went back to my OB's office, and again, the same one. And she's like, well, I got a minor in psychology. I'm going to do the bet. Your poor little amygdala has been working so hard for the past 10 months.
Yeah.
And excuse me.
Yeah.
Now it's finally resting. And then this was the point where I fell into a horrible depression. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was delayed postpartum mm-hmm. or PTSD or, mm-hmm. And I'll never know. But it was
kind of all comes crashing.
It all came crashing down.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't have that constant, what's coming next. It was okay, let's get back to real life type mm-hmm. of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really, I think, started to understand the depth of what had happened and what I was going through, and scared about well, what if it comes back, or what mm-hmm. if my kid gets it, mm-hmm. or what, and those thoughts started to spiral. And I got into a very dark place. There was probably 2.5, 3 months of my life where every second of every day I was fighting thoughts of suicide.
Yeah.
And just constant, and crazy things would go through my head. Well, if I kill myself, I got to make sure it looks like an accident, because, I want to make sure he gets the life insurance policy, and mm-hmm. and I just truly thought that the world would be better without me. And it was just, it gave me a whole new perspective into depression, and it's not something you can just switch on and off.
Yeah.
And I have a master's degree in school counseling. I took a lot of mental health classes, and I appreciated that. And I believe in mental health, of course, but mm-hmm. until you go through it and understand how incredibly debilitating it is, you just, it's unbelievable. And I remember there would be some days where I felt a little bit better, and I was so frustrated because I'm why can't I feel like this every day? Why can't I go back to, here I am with my first kid, and these are milestones. I've pretty much beat cancer in mm-hmm. This should be the most exciting, right? This should be the most exciting mm-hmm. thing. I'm finally back home, and but my mom was huge in this, and we would go for walks. We would walk through the neighborhood, and it was an easy thing I could do, pushing the stroller, and just that exposure outside. So piece by piece, I started to feel a little bit better, and I did get onto antidepressants, mm-hmm. which didn't fix everything, but I think it helped. It gave me enough, that boost to be motivated again, because there were days where I literally I would wake up in the morning and I'm it's I couldn't wait till it was time to go to bed. Like I just didn't want to be alive. I didn't want to be there. And I was home with her for the most part. The daily tasks of taking care of this little helpless being are what kept me alive.
Yeah.
And just kept me in that basic routine of like, okay, gotta feed her. Okay, gotta do this. And because there were days where like, I didn't even want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
Like
so she got you out of bed and she kept you moving.
Mm-hmm. And my husband had gone back to work
you had to
at
fight
this
that,
time.
Right?
Right.
It's a constant battle, like you said. And I've never experienced depression, but I certainly want to honor it. And it isn't something, like you said, that can be a switch turned on and off. And
right.
It sounds like you have a really great support system that you were able to lean on during your pregnancy and helping with the baby. Did you feel you had that same support system, and were you quick to ask for help, or was there a period where you tried to stuff it away?
I did. I mean, the support was always there. It wasn't as strong as it was when everything first happened, because when I was first diagnosed, everyone knew I was pregnant and everyone was all excited for me to have this kid, and my family, my friends, my work environment, and they all stepped up so much. But then, everyone was like, oh, great, you're through treatment, like things are good.
Right.
And so it's not like that they didn't care anymore, but that went away.
On the surface, everything looked like life was going back on. And I think that is what depression is so silent for so many people. And there's, because I've obviously talked to a lot of people that have experienced it, and there's shame that comes with it. There's guilt that comes with it. There's denial that comes with it. But it is that, 800-pound gorilla in the room sometimes. And I think I just want to, if anyone's listening to this, I'd love to give them some encouragement from, your experience on just the importance of asking for help and talking to somebody about it, and that you shouldn't feel any shame or guilt around it, because it is something that, like you said, you can't just turn off.
Right. And the frustration of like, hey, why can't I go back to the way I felt before?
Yeah.
Or why can't I? And my heart really goes out to people that have struggled with depression for their life. I mean, this was a situational depression for me, and something I knew about, but had never truly personally experienced.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting downstairs one day when everything really started to sink in, and my mom and my sister were having a conversation with my dad, in another room, but I could overhear. And my mom and my sister were kind of like looping my dad in to like, do you realize how serious this is? Like, we need to make sure somebody's with her or checking in.
Yeah.
And my mom one time, she said, if you ever get to that point where you want to kill yourself or you're going to taking that action, call me.
Yeah.
And that commitment, at the time I was like, okay, but there were times. I mean, there were times where I was in the kitchen with a knife to my wrist, or thinking about like how, drowning in the pool. I mean, just all kinds of things went through my head, but I always came back to that. Like, another friend of mine, a very close friend, said, well, does it make you sad to think of your daughter growing up without you? And at the time, it was kind of like, no, she would be better off without me, because you're in that automatic thought of like, I'm not good for the world. There's nothing, but I kept coming back to that. And I kept thinking, I can't get through this. And acknowledging the fact that it was not going to be a light switch to turn off right away. And I had to figure out, what are the baby steps I can take to make myself better?
Yeah.
And talking to someone. I didn't talk to a counselor. I wish I would have. And it's like, how doctors are the worst patients, like counselors are the worst clients, I think, because I think that would have helped tremendously. I had my mom and she was always there, but to just talk to somebody from an external perspective. So anyone that's considering, going through something like this, if you're not already involved in therapy and having someone who is really checking in on you, like that's just so important. I think I just didn't want to like go through the whole story and this and help them understand. And so, so I went on antidepressants, and that helped. I went back to work. I was out for a year. I stayed out for a year. And going back to work really helped because not that I was like super pumped about being at work, but just the connections and my getting back into a normal routine of
having
waking
new
up.
responsibilities. Yeah.
Yes. And my kid was she stayed with my mother-in-law for the first year. So dealing with that, we were lucky for that. And about in October, I should go back. There was a point through this depression where I genuinely considered just like getting rid of all my workout clothes because I was like, I'm never gonna need these again. Like I'm never gonna want to do this again. And this is from someone who like
you grew
my
up
whole
active.
life.
Yeah,
Right.
I heard that in your story earlier.
Yes,
so.
my whole life, and fitness was always a priority. And I really just I thought that so. Feeling a little bit better, but I still was not me. Like I still wasn't happy. I wasn't energized. It was still not the constant thoughts of suicide, but like
still
why am
like
I
a shell
doing
of
this?
yourself a little bit.
Like what is the point of all of this? Why are we doing junior graduation checks? Like it doesn't matter. Like just very, negative thinking and just really, I wasn't who I wanted to be, who wasn't the mom I wanted to be to my kid and just wasn't the wife that I wanted to be. And so I had been to the free Saturday workouts when Burn used to do the free Saturday camps.
Yeah.
And one of my good friends was like, hey, why don't you try Burn? Like they have child watch. You can go right at 3:30 right after school. So I was like, okay. I saw another friend of mine that I went to high school with who was coming to Burn at the time. And I was like, I remember her from high school and she wasn't very athletic. And I looked at how she looked now and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And her confidence as well, not just physically, but I'm like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And so with this second conversation, well, I need to try it out. So I did. I packed a workout bag after school and I picked my kid up from daycare and came and checked in. And she was child watch at the time. She's one of the Burn ambassadors at our location now. Was just so welcoming. And she, I think she could see I was a little nervous about the child watch. So she brought me back there. She showed me everything. She said, the kids love it. And she said, it was a really great workout today. We have a free Saturday trial or whatever it was at the time. And
that sounds about right. Or 14 days.
Whatever. Maybe it was the 14 days.
Yeah.
And so she encouraged me to do it. So I was like, okay. So I signed up. I did the workout and it was good. Like it worked out well. I'm like, okay, so this worked. Yeah. I can do this. I can schedule this. And so just, that same drive of like, okay. And my husband was very supportive the whole time, I think that he was really happy that I was doing it and knew it was an important piece. And I think finally the endorphins started coming back. I started moving more. I started feeling physically better.
Yep.
My kid loved coming to child watch. I mean, she was so funny. Boom, boot camp, boom, boot camp. Like she had this cute little like tagline for boot camp. And
she's probably holding you accountable to go.
Yeah. And at first she was a little nervous to go back there, but then Taylor is the one and she's like, tell mommy, go work out, mommy, it's okay. And so then it was this, go work out, mommy, go work out. So anyway, a few months later, I really was in the best physical shape of my life.
I read that in the book. You said you were really feeling like you were getting back to normal again.
Yes. And it truly, it saved my life. It took me out of that mundane, what is the point of this? Why am I doing this? And let me live again and let me realize like how wonderful life really is. And so mentally, physically, just doing really well. And Holly, the Burn Franchise Naples owner, we were on the rig doing something and she's like, I want you on the transformation wall. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, and she's like, your arm, just look at your arms. Like how much? And I'm like, yeah, I guess like, okay.
Yeah.
And, so I did that. And then once I shared that story, obviously I talked a lot about leukemia and how I was in such a horrible depression at the time. And seeing the people that I had been working out with for the past a few months had no idea about any of that, or the first diagnosis in either. And seeing their reactions as to like, oh my gosh, like it's truly like you really don't know what is going on in other people's lives.
Yeah.